2 years from now, people might look back and say, how did we not see it? Copper didn't just go up. It quietly became one of the most important bets on the future. Copper isn't just wiring. It might be the metal that decides who gets to build the next tech boom and who gets priced out of it. In this video, we're breaking down why copper prices have surged, why major institutions are openly discussing 5-figure price scenarios per ton, and what has to happen for copper to stay expensive or move even higher. And here's the open loop. There's one bottleneck almost nobody talks about that could turn copper from a boring industrial metal into a real supply chain problem. Once you see it, you'll never look at a power cable the same way again. Imagine you're holding a smartphone. Now imagine everything in modern life that needs electricity, homes, factories, EVs, data centers, power lines, as one giant body. Copper is the nervous system. It's what electricity travels through. And when the world decides, let's electrify everything, copper doesn't politely keep up. It strains because copper isn't software. You can't update it. You can't download it. You have to dig it out of the ground, and that takes time. A lot of time. Copper is usually the quiet metal. It doesn't have gold's drama. It doesn't have silver's meme energy. It doesn't have lithium's futuristic branding. It just shows up everywhere, doing unglamorous work until the market wakes up. Because markets don't move smoothly. They ignore things right up until they can't. And lately, copper has stopped being invisible. Prices have pushed to historically high levels, inventories have tightened, and suddenly large banks are openly discussing scenarios where copper trades far higher than most people ever expected. That's not YouTube hype. That's institutional research reacting to real constraints. So the question becomes, why now? Why would copper, this basic industrial metal, start acting like it matters this much? 1. The world is building an electric future. This part is simple. The world wants more electricity. But not just more electricity everywhere, all the time. Think about what's expanding simultaneously. AI, data centers, cloud computing, advanced manufacturing, EVs, grid modernization. Data centers alone are extremely power intensive. And when they grow, it's not just server racks. It's cooling systems, backup power, transformers, grid reinforcements, redundancy. Research firms like S&P Global have been clear on this point. AI and data center growth represent a new, fast-growing source of copper demand, not just inside the facilities, but across the power infrastructure that feeds them. As electricity demand rises, the grid has to grow with it, and that grid is built with copper. This is why people say copper is the metal of electrification, not as poetry, as physics. 2. The grid is the real copper hog. Here's the part most people miss. When they hear more electricity, they picture power plants or solar farms. But the real constraint is the grid. The wires, the substations, the transformers, the distribution systems. Modernizing and expanding power grids requires huge and sustained amounts of copper. And once copper goes into grid infrastructure, it doesn't come back quickly. It's tied up for decades. That makes demand sticky. Copper isn't consumed like oil, but it gets locked into long-lived assets that aren't getting ripped out just because prices rise. So even if copper becomes expensive, supply doesn't magically reappear. The metal is already spoken for. 3. Mining can't just turn on. This is where copper starts behaving like a pressure cooker. Copper supply is slow, painfully slow. You don't open a copper mine because prices went up last quarter. Mining projects can take 10 years or more from discovery to meaningful production, between permitting, construction, and ramp-up. That's why large capital commitments matter. When a company like Rio Tinto commits close to $1 billion to expand underground copper mining at a major operation like Kennecott in Utah, that's not a short-term trade. That's a decade-long bet that copper demand will remain strong. Projects like these may deliver hundreds of thousands of tons over many years, but they don't solve near-term tightness. So when demand accelerates faster than supply can respond, prices become the balancing mechanism. 4. The price targets that got attention. This is where people start choking on their coffee. Several major banks have raised copper forecasts, with base case expectations clustering around elevated levels over the next few years. And in more bullish scenarios, where demand surprises to the upside and supply struggles, some research desks have discussed copper approaching levels that would have sounded extreme just a few years ago. Think low to mid 5 figures per ton in aggressive scenarios. Not guarantees, not promises, scenarios. And that distinction matters, because copper doesn't move like that unless something real is happening underneath. 5. But isn't copper everywhere? This is the most common pushback. People say copper's common, it's everywhere. And that's half true. Copper exists, but economically usable copper at scale is a different story. Supply isn't just about what's in the ground. It's about finding it, permitting it, financing it, mining it, processing it, transporting it. Doing all of that on time and grade matters. At operations like Kennecott, surface ore may contain fractions of a percent copper, while underground zones can be far richer. That difference changes economics dramatically. So saying copper is everywhere is like saying water is everywhere. Sure, but clean water doesn't move without pipes, pumps, and infrastructure. The system is the constraint. Here's where the bullish story becomes a real market risk. Even if everyone agrees we need more copper, we may not be able to get it fast enough. And when markets realize that copper doesn't rise calmly, it spikes, because copper sits inside everything: homes, cars, factories, grids. If copper gets too expensive, it becomes inflationary. It raises the cost of building the future. That creates tension. The future needs copper. The economy hates expensive copper. That tug of war is where volatility lives. Exploration. 3 possible futures. Scenario A, steady bull. Demand grows. Supply responds slowly. Prices stay elevated but controlled. Not exciting but powerful. Because boring bullish can still mean expensive copper for years. Scenario B, spike and snap. Copper spikes on tight inventories and fear. Then, something cools it. A recession. Weaker China demand. Supply surprises. Or simply no new bullish catalyst. Even bullish banks openly warn that momentum-driven rallies need fresh fuel. Scenario C, structural tightness. This is the long-term bull case. Electrification, AI, grid expansion, and EVs stack on top of each other. Copper demand compounds. And because copper gets locked into infrastructure for decades, supply never quite catches up. That's not a guarantee, but it's a real risk markets are starting to price. Here's the idea that ties everything together. Copper isn't getting valuable because people suddenly like copper. It's getting valuable because the future is trying to grow faster than the physical world can wire it. AI scales fast. Code scales fast. Grids don't. Mines don't. And copper sits right in the middle of that collision. That's why copper suddenly matters. Not because it's exciting, because it's unavoidable. Conclusion: copper's rise isn't random. AI, data centers, and electrification are pushing electricity demand higher. That demand requires copper, inside facilities and across the grid. Grid upgrades lock copper away for decades, making demand durable. Mining supply takes years to respond, even with massive investment. When demand moves faster than reality, prices adjust. That's why copper stopped being boring, and why the world may only be starting to notice. Copper isn't getting expensive because people suddenly care about copper. It's getting expensive because the future is trying to grow faster than the physical world can wire it. And whether copper spikes, stalls, or grinds higher from here, this story isn't going away. So let me ask you this. Do you think copper becomes a real bottleneck for electrification? Or do prices get high enough that demand breaks before supply does? Drop your comment below. Before you go, if you want clear, no-nonsense breakdowns of the forces shaping markets before they hit the headlines, hit subscribe and turn on the alert bell, because when this copper story moves again, it won't move slowly. In the meantime, for more on investing and trading gold, silver, and copper, check out the playlist on your screen. See you next time.